What's up, all my Ewoks, Tribbles, Droids, and Wookiees? It's Anna, also known as Star Wars Girl, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how Bob Iger has come back to save Disney. If you guys don't know, the breaking news yesterday was that Bob Chapek has been announced to be replaced as Disney's CEO, and Bob Iger has come back and returned to take up the mantle of CEO of the Walt Disney Company once again. Now, this isn't a shock to me because this is all part of Bob Iger's plan. He knew that Disney was in trouble. All of the woke shit was absolutely destroying the company and destroying the business. And so Bob Iger didn't want to take the hit for that because he's got much bigger plans for himself down the line, and I will get to that in a moment or two. And so he didn't want to get blamed for all of the failure that Disney has been, getting the past couple years with everything, not, only for all of the woke shit ruining it, but also with COVID. Now, obviously, he didn't know about COVID or any of that going on. So everything that's happened since then, all of the failures that Disney had, Bob Iger didn't want that on his resume. He wanted to be known as the guy that was the hero of ABC, and then the guy that came in and saved the Walt Disney Company from Eisner, even though, in my opinion, Eisner wasn't bad. Eisner actually cared about the magic and the message that Walt Disney had for his company. And Bob Iger came in and said, no, we're basically going to turn Disney into the Gap and make it as generic as possible. But Bob Iger acquired Marvel, and he acquired Pixar, and he acquired Star Wars. So he wanted to end on that high note of the man that, expanded the Walt Disney Company and brought in all of this success. But when things weren't going the way that he wanted to, he said, okay, let me just take a minute and respectfully retire for, a certain amount of time, bring in someone else that can be a figurehead, so that way that person can take the fall and all of this hits from all of the not successful endeavors that Disney, took with all the woke shit that they putting into their media. And so Bob Chapek was literally just a placeholder. And guys, before you're like, oh, why would anyone do that? He's a millionaire. He doesn't give two shits if he's going to be the figurehead that takes the fall. All that dude wants to do is go ride roller coasters at Walt Disney World. He doesn't give two shits. He wants to play golf and go to Disney World with his family. He's already a millionaire. He will be fine. So yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I'll take a couple extra $1 million to go do that. Now, if you guys are wondering where I'm getting all this information, I got it from Bob Iger himself. Bob Iger wrote this book called The Ride of a Lifetime. Now, that book should actually be titled How to Become a Modern Day Supervillain and Take Over the Entertainment Industry, because that's exactly what goes on in that book, and that's exactly what he outlines in that book. Now, I did a video on this book when it came out. It is a little long. It's over an hour. It will be linked down below in the description of this video. But I was insanely, I shouldn't say insanely, but I was very passionately angered by this book because it, like it says in the title, it's the complete betrayal of George Lucas, because in that book, Bob Iger basically illustrates, like I said, how he takes over the entertainment industry, and he is literally our modern day Lex Luthor. And he talks about his time at ABC and then his time at getting into Disney, and how he was, he looked down upon Eisner, and how Eisner, like, everyone had Mickey everyone had Mickey ties, and it was like very in the essence of Walt Disney, and you were supposed to be enthusiastic about the characters and the message that Walt Disney wanted. Isn't that crazy? And he didn't like that. And so as Eisner, Eisner had his enemies, and so Bob took advantage of that, got Eisner out, he took over, and then he started acquiring properties like Marvel and Pixar. So Marvel was one thing in and of itself, and he wanted, there was a plan. There was like, okay, well, let's do this and this and this, and this is going to be this bigger thing. And obviously Marvel Comics was very, very successful. People liked these characters, and so he went with that. Also, they acquired Pixar, and so John Lasseter says this, or not John Lasseter, but Bob Iger says this in his book about John Lasseter, about how he bought he bought Pixar for John Lasseter because Pixar was so successful and Disney was Disney was already doing the distribution for Pixar, and he noticed when he was at one of the Disney parades that all of the characters were Pixar characters or older characters because the current ones weren't as popular. And so he wanted John Lasseter to run Disney Animation Studios because he was doing such a good job with Pixar. So what he did was he bought Pixar, and he had to deal with Steve Jobs, because if you guys don't know, Steve Jobs, John Lasseter, and George Lucas, you know, they all kind of created Pixar. And so he had to deal with, you know, Steve Jobs, who is notoriously hard to work with. But he wanted John Lasseter to come and fix Disney Animation Studios. So for a time, John Lasseter was running Pixar and Disney Studios, you know, Disney Animation Studios. And it was very, very successful because John is actually very good at his job and, you know, a very creative and inspiring person. And all that Me Too bullshit was exactly that. It was bullshit. I've met John Lasseter. I've spoken to John Lasseter. He's a wonderful human being. And when you work with him, oh my gosh, it's crazy that a guy like John Lasseter would say, no, that's a bad idea. Let's go with something better. And people get offended by that and want to go and take advantage of a movement, which that's a whole nother video in and of itself. But so when, and this is what Bob Iger says in the book, he basically went up to George Lucas and said, hey, you know, I know that as far as financial reason, or, you know, financial things are going on with Lucasfilm and all that, but guess what? I want Star Wars. Disney wants Star Wars. So what if we gave you the John Lasseter deal, which is I, Bob Iger, buy Lucasfilm and ILM and LucasArts and Skywalker Sound and all of that. What if I bought, you know, your company, Lucasfilm, and you still run it and everything, but then you get the financial backing of Disney and we do the distribution. We basically pay for everything. And George was basically given the impression that he would get the John Lasseter deal, which was Disney would buy everything and he would still be allowed to be in charge of it and have creative control. Then egos got in the way and they got so far into the deal, and George was pushing back on things, and Bob Iger basically said, oh, you think that you're going to still be in creative control? Because originally George wanted over $10 billion. John said no. And then he's like, well, you guys paid over $7 billion for Marvel. And then Bob's thing was like, oh, well, you know what? Marvel has so many characters and Marvel has all of this potential. And one of the things that he says in his freaking book is that Steve Jobs called him up and Steve Jobs was giving him hell because Steve Jobs didn't like the way that Bob Iger was running. That tells, when Steve Jobs doesn't like something, it's like, oh my God. And so Steve Jobs called Bob Iger and was like, yo, I just took my son to go see Iron Man 2. It fucking sucked. And Bob Iger said, I don't care. It made $72 million. I don't care if it sucked or not. So that tells you a little bit about Bob Iger in and of itself right there. But so George Lucas thought that he was getting that deal, that he was going to get to create, still have creative control, and that Disney was basically just going to give him money and distribute things and, you know, obviously say yes or no to certain things, but overall George would still have creative control. And then they got into it about money, and I'm sure egos hit the fan and there was arguments and disagreements and whatnot. And so George said, you know, fuck this, I'm pulling out because you guys aren't going to pay me enough. You know, went from $10 billion to $7 billion, which is what he paid for, or what Bob paid for Marvel. And then they got all the way down to $4.5 billion. And George was like, you know what? I've had enough with this. I don't like what you're doing. I'm done. I'm out. And you know what Bob Iger said to him? No, George, you can't pull out because if you do, you will owe me $500 million. And I know you don't have $500 million, so you will lose everything. Everyone that works at all your studios are going to lose your job. You're going to lose your life work. Everything is going to get, you know, go bye-bye because you're going to have to owe me $500 million. And I'm going to take you for all you're worth and you're going to lose everything. Or you sign everything over to me and you get $4.5 billion. You decide, George. And that's why when you look at that photo and George just looks like he sold his soul to the devil, he looks, you know, just like this is the lowest point of his entire life. That's why. Because it was either lose everything or get a big payday. So people that blame George Lucas, he was fucking lied to. He was manipulated. And all of that is in Bob Iger's book. He is literally a supervillain. And again, I did a whole breakdown of this book. It's a, you know, it's a long video, but there's a lot to go through, and I go through the entire book in that video. It's a freaking shit show. And you know what this guy's plan is? It's no different. This guy's plan was he knew shit was going bad, so he said, "Hey, I'm gonna retire." He steps back. He still plays everything from behind the scenes. He lets Bob Chapek take the fall for him, and then he comes in and saves the day. He He's literally the Emperor in Revenge of the Sith. He lets Dooku, which is Chapek, take the fall. Dooku does everything, or takes the hit and everything, and then he comes back and he makes his way back to Coruscant. He's like, oh, the Emperor has returned, or Palpatine has returned. That's literally Bob Iger. And this guy's end goal is to become president of the United States. That is what he wants. In 2028, I believe that's when he's planning on running. So, because he's not going to do it the next election. He's going to wait, see all of that hit the fan and that whole shit show. But his whole thing is that he's going to be the guy that saved Disney once again, that he was successful at ABC, that he came in and made Disney better. He made Disney, expand so much. He got Disney, Marvel, and Pixar, and Star Wars. Don't you guys like Star Wars? And he's going to use all of those characters, like, every single Disney princess, like Mickey Mouse. He's gonna, when he campaigns for president, he's gonna be like, don't you like Mickey Mouse? Don't all your kids like Mickey Mouse? Oh my goodness, all of these characters that you grow up with, don't you guys all like Marvel? Don't you guys like Iron Man? And all the campaign is gonna be him with all of these characters. And he's going to use that to manipulate people into getting him into being the president of the United States. And this is all part of his plan. So I am not surprised by it at all. And so seeing all of these news, I'm like, yeah, well, what else is new? This was all part of his evil, conniving plan. And like I said, if you guys read his book, The Ride of a Lifetime, it should be modern day, like how to be a modern day supervillain and take over the entertainment industry. And end goal, president. He is our modern day Lex Luthor, ladies and gentlemen. But anyways, everyone, I've rambled on long enough about this. If you guys want to know more, let me know your questions down below in the comment section. I'm happy to answer them. If you guys want me to do a follow-up video and, hone in on a specific area, please let me know in the comment section. Guys, I appreciate every single one of you. All of your likes, shares, comments really, really help out my channel, fighting the pesky YouTube algorithm. I am shadow banned because people like me that, speak the truth, YouTube and Access Media don't like that thing, so they shadow ban people like me. So every single like, share, comment really, really does help my channel, fighting the pesky YouTube algorithms. If you guys like my channel, my content, please take a minute, smash that subscribe button, and ring the bell for notifications. Make sure that bell is set to all, that we actually get notifications when I post videos and when I do live streams. And until next time, I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And may the force be with you, because we are really, really, really going to need it. Bye, everyone. What's up, everyone, and thank you so much again for watching my channel and my content. And if you would like to support me further, because I am not sponsored in any way, shape, or form, as much as I want Mio to get behind me and sponsor me, because I love Mio, I actually created something. I created a cosplay calendar of some of your favorite video game characters, and this is the second cosplay calendar I have done. Everyone really liked the first one, and so, I really am grateful for everyone that's come out and support this one as well. It means the world to me. We already broke the total from last year's entire campaign in the first 30 days of this campaign. So thank you once again, everyone, so much for your support. And if you guys are new here and you guys don't know me, well, then this is a really good way to, get to know me and back my calendar and support my channel. There's a lot of really popular characters that were, requested for the first calendar, like Samus. So I started off with her. And unlike Hollywood, as I try to give you guys what you want, I try to give fans and nerds and, all of us that have been told F you by Hollywood to give, you guys what you want and what I want, which is staying true to characters and trying to do the best version of them that I possibly can. So as you guys can see here, this is my Jill Valentine. I got Jade from Mortal Kombat. I got the one and only Lara Croft, my girl Lara. Then I have Miranda from Mass Effect. Now I'm still adding images of these characters. There are going to be 12 different ones, and if you guys are interested in supporting an independent content creator like myself, this is the way to do it. I do the photos, I, do the cosplay, I ship everything out myself. So this is a 100% my own project. So if you guys, again, want to support me and my channel and keep everything rolling, please consider backing my cosplay calendar. I would really appreciate it. The links are down in the description below. So please check that out if you guys haven't already. And if this isn't something for you, then maybe take a second and, share it to somebody who this might be, something they'd be interested in. Once again, everyone, thank you so much and have a great rest of your day. Also, guys, I have a Twitch channel where I play video games like Elden Ring and KOTOR, as well as an Instagram where I post photos from my recent cosplay escapades. If you guys aren't following me on either of those, go do so now. The link is in the description of this video. And just in case if you guys are interested in my art, I have an art Instagram as well where I post all of the time-lapse videos from my recent project, the Eye project, as well as other projects that I've worked on if you scroll down further. And if you're interested in purchasing some prints of my art or stickers or bookmarks and stuff like that, any kind of merchandise that I make based on the stuff that I paint, you guys can go over to my Etsy. It's the Art of Anna TSWG. Everything again that I've showed you will be linked down below in the description of this video. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.